Hello, my name is Denise Scaloni. Several years ago, I started my own home-based business. I was so fortunate to have such wonderful women help me along the way. I decided to start this show, Empowering Women, so they could help other women and help the audience out there watching to fulfill their dream and do what they want to do. Today's episode features Abby Lawson, Just a Girl on Her Blog, and the YouTube channel Abby Organizes, and Jackie Ging, owner of the Style Truck. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. My guest today is Abby Lawson, blogger of Just a Girl on Her Blog, and Abby Organizes the YouTube channel. Hi, Abby. Thanks for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. It's great to be here.
So excited that you're here. Can you tell us a little bit about Just a Girl on Her Blog?
Sure. I started Just a Girl on Her Blog kind of on a whim back in 2013. I was a stay-at-home mom. I have 2 little boys, and I was looking for some sort of creative outlet, something to do in addition to taking care of my boys. So I had seen blogs. I really wasn't quite sure what they were, but they looked like fun. I have an English background. I was an English teacher previously. So I said, that looks fun, and I can keep up my writing skills. And so I started a blog. I didn't ever think that anybody would read it. But as I got more and more into it, it started to grow. And here we are today, doing it as my full-time job, and my husband works alongside me. So it's our family's full-time business.
When did the blog really take off? I know that you told me there was a certain blog that you posted and then it just went crazy and people started sharing it like crazy.
Well, it was little by little. I would say the first post that I had that kind of got some traction and went a little bit viral, I would say was at kind of the 2 or 3 month point. And so then it started to grow a little bit. And then at the 6 month point, I had a couple posts that took off a little bit as well. And it's a long-term thing. It doesn't kind of just take off and have all this readership right away. As the years have gone on and I have more content, it's grown and gotten bigger. So,
now, what do you usually blog about?
I have a really heavy organization focus. So I talk a lot about organizing and productivity strategies. Our YouTube channel is all organization focused. But then on the blog, I also do some home decor type things as well.
What advice would you give to someone that was starting out in blogging? Because I know sometimes people get discouraged because they do this blog and they have 5 people that read it.
Right. Well, and that's what I would say. It's definitely not a get rich quick type of thing at all. I blogged for months and months and months and put my own money into blogging and into resources before I even made a dime from it. I blogged for a long time before, people started finding my articles and before it started growing. So you really have to be in it kind of for the long haul and do it because you love it.
Right.
And then I would say for somebody who's starting out, just showing up, being really consistent with your content and working to create articles or videos or whatever platform you're using that are extremely helpful for other people. It's fun to kind of talk about your life and what's going on with you, and I definitely do that, and that helps you connect with people.
Sure.
But really, people will come to your site because you're meeting a need for them. So I would say if you're focusing on other people and really serving them, that's when your site or your YouTube channel or whatever will start to grow.
And how often do you blog?
I blog typically twice a week. Usually one of those has a video in it from the YouTube channel, and then the other one is just straight writing, just a blog post.
And you've had your blog for how long?
We just hit 5 years.
5 years, congratulations.
Yeah.
And how many people do you have that read your blog? How many usually do you have subscribers?
We get around 500,000 page views a month, I would say. I have about 150,000 email subscribers, which is a big traffic driver to the blog. So those are kind of some numbers, but it changes seasonally. Like right now in January, we get a ton of page views because everybody's into organization. Some of the other times of the year, it'll slow down a little bit, Back to school time is a big time for us because, again, of organization. So it kind of ebbs and flows a little bit as the year goes on.
It's an amazing story, Abby, because you started this out just as something to do, as a hobby.
Yes, I had no idea what I was doing. I actually hoped that nobody would read it. I was afraid people would find it and read it and think I was crazy. But it's really fun and it's crazy with the internet, what's all possible. Being able to create a business from home, doing what you love and supporting our family through a blog.
So you started writing the blog, and then did you start selling products from that blog, or how did that work? So
Yeah.
I know you talk about some of the products that you do have.
Yeah, so we do a lot of digital products, so ebooks and courses, those sort of things. I launched my first ebook when I had been blogging about 18 months, and it was called Building a Framework. It's now turned into an ebook and course. It teaches people how to start a blog. And so now I think we have like 4 or 5 digital products excuse me,
Sure.
that are either teach people how to blog or teach people how to get organized that we sell, and those are some of our main revenue streams.
And you also have the YouTube channel.
Yeah, we just started that about 6 months ago. I feel like a lot of social media and online type of things are going to video rather than being written, so we kind of wanted to get on that train as early as we could. So we decided to kind of hone in on organizing for the YouTube channel because that's been kind of my favorite part to do.
Yes.
And so we, typically once a week do a video about organizing an area of our home that we're working on.
And some of those videos have been great.
Oh, thank you.
I look at them and think, I should try that. Maybe someday. You have to hold me accountable, I guess, for that.
Yeah, I'll email you. Make sure you're
There you go.
getting organized.
And people think with YouTube videos, they don't have to be sophisticated where you have to have all these cameras and everything else. Because you were just telling me before we started, who does your YouTube videos?
Yeah, so
for
my
you?
husband is the videographer.
Right.
So I show up and talk. He does all the video. We have a couple cameras and lighting. We just do it all over our house. And he edits them. I write the posts and take photos. So it's just kind of our little family thing that we do.
And it's
just
grown
out of our
so
house.
much.
Yeah. So you don't. It takes time to build the skills and to learn video and editing and photography and that kind of thing. But it's totally possible for you to. I hadn't even picked up a DSLR camera before I started blogging. So just kind of learn and get better along the way.
So organization, you blog about that. And you can take a drink. Organization, you blog about that, and you have your YouTube channel. And this show will air in February, so it's still kind of the new year. What advice would you give someone that says, I am so disorganized. I don't know where to start. I just have stuff everywhere. What would you tell them? What are the first 1 or 2 steps they should do to be organized?
Okay, so I would say start with the space that's driving you the most crazy. Usually we all have that space that's a thorn in our side that kind of disrupts our everyday activities because it's unorganized. So if you have a space like that, I would start there. I think the biggest, most important step always to do is to get rid of as much as you can. So either donate or throw away anything that's broken or is unusable. Give it away to friends, sell it on Facebook yard sales or Craigslist or something. A lot of the time our problem is that we're just hanging on to too much stuff that we don't need and use.
In case we need it.
In case we need it someday, which doesn't usually ever happen. So I would say that's just the biggest thing. Start with something that's driving you crazy, because once you complete that first project, it feels so good and you're kind of on this high. And people say, I don't have time to organize. I don't have a lot of time. And we're all busy. It's true. But if we're willing to input the time and invest the time in that space, it's going to end up saving us so much time in the long run because we don't have to look for things. Our daily routine goes more smoothly. And you're just saving infinite amount of time in the long run if you're setting up a good organizational system in that space.
And we all have that. We have the junk drawer. Everything goes in there, the junk drawer. Or the pile of papers. Everything gets put on there. Do you also organize your kids' rooms? Are they organized?
Yes. Well, they share a room. My 2 boys share a room, and then they have a playroom. So their playroom is pretty amazing. It wasn't very organized for a while, and then we took kind of a weekend. We went through it, got rid of a bunch of toys that they weren't playing with anymore. When they actually had less toys in there, they were in there more often playing, and this has been, I would say, 4 to 5 months ago, and it still stays clean fairly easily because everything has a spot, and it's now easy for them to get picked up. So they use their space more, and they are typical kids. They're not like these super organized, clean kids by nature or anything, but just because everything has a spot, it's a lot easier to keep it clean and maintain our systems that we have in place.
So it is possible to keep kids organized.
It is, and like our house does not look perfect all the time by any stretch of the imagination. We usually have like Legos and Bionicles like hanging on our different pieces of furniture. Like it's real life. But I think when you have good systems in place, it's easy to go from having stuff. If you want to clean up, it can take only like 10 or 15 minutes to get the house back to its bright and shiny state because you have those good systems in place.
And I think that's what it is. If things aren't in place, it's so overwhelming. I think it's going to take me 2 hours to clean this room. I don't have 2 hours.
Right, yes. So if you take the time to set up those systems, then you don't need 2 hours, and it'll save you that time in the long run.
So you're on YouTube, and you have a Facebook page?
I do, yep. So on YouTube, we're at Abby Organizes, and my Facebook page is Just a Girl and her blog.
Okay. Are you on any other social media?
I do. I really love Instagram. So I have 2 Instagram accounts, actually, at Abby Organizes, and then at JustAGirl_Abby. So I am on Instagram all the time. You can connect with me there.
Okay. And how did you come up with the name Just a Girl and Her Blog?
That was on a whim too. Again, I didn't think anybody was ever going to read my blog, so I didn't think it mattered what it was called. I just kind of liked how it played off of just a boy and his dog, just a girl and her blog. And so that was the first thing I thought of. I said, let's just name it that. And here we are 5 years later. It's still called that. So
Abby, it's an amazing story. I'm so glad you came to share it with the audience because there are many people out there thinking, I can do that.
Well, thank you for having me. And yeah, that's the beautiful thing about the online world is really like I didn't know anything at all. I started from ground zero and just kind of learned as I went. And it's not just with home or organization. It's whatever you love and have to share and teach to the world. You can do that online, whether it's in a hobby capacity or even building it up into a business. So I love that.
So you have all this that you do. You have all these products. What's next for Abby? What's next for Just a Girl and her blog? I was going to say dog after you said that. A Girl and Her blog.
Just a Girl and her blog. Well, excuse me. We're going to continue doing the videos, I think, into 2018. And we'll also, I think, be kind of redoing some of the products we already have and possibly putting out some new digital products, maybe that are even more focused on organizing as well. So I'm kind of excited to see where we head from here.
I'm excited to see it too. Any final thoughts?
No, I just encourage people. I think people have blogs and online businesses and say, like, I could never do that. They must have, like, I thought it was people who were, I'm pretty shy by nature, so people who were bolder than me or more talented than me or knew more than me that could do this. But I'm literally just a girl. I'm a normal girl who just picked it up and just learned everything I could and worked really hard. And so if there's something that you're passionate about and want to share with people, I encourage you to do that.
Thank you so much for being here, Abby.
Thank you
much
for
success.
having me. Thank you. It's been fun.
My guest today is Jackie Ging, owner of the Style Truck. Hello, my friend.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm well.
Thank you for being here.
It's an honor.
The Style Truck. What is the Style Truck for people that are watching that may have no idea or even heard of the Style Truck?
The Style Truck, as you can see here, is a mobile boutique. It was Pennsylvania's first shop on wheels for women and similar to a food truck. So I go around to events all over Western Pennsylvania and carry women's clothing and accessories.
Where did you ever get the idea to drive a truck and put women's clothing in there?
I read it in a magazine. So I was looking through InStyle magazine and it caught my attention. I was actually looking for a job and looking at InStyle magazine as a break, and it was something that really caught my eye. It was interesting. I saw these trucks look like the Partridge Family bus in California, so that was the first thing. And then I saw some trucks in Minneapolis and in Boston, and I was like, Pittsburgh really needs this. Like, every time I traveled for work or with friends, I would always shop and find boutiques, and I thought it was something that was lacking in Pittsburgh. And I thought, well, if they can have it, so Pittsburgh.
And the style truck was born.
Hence it started.
And it didn't look like this when you first got it.
No. I found it on Craigslist up in Elwood City, and it was a ugly, green, rusty tool truck. It had been in a school district in Maryland, and then previously it was in the military. So it took a lot of care and fixing up.
And this wasn't your background, driving a truck.
No. No, I drove a little two-seater car. It was like a Flintstone car that could probably fit in this truck. So yes, and when I first got the truck, I was up in the church parking lot like I was 16 learning how to drive again. But no, my background is marketing and business development for 18 years. I worked with professional services, architecture and engineering and consulting. So very far from being a truck driver.
It is very far from being a truck. And how long have you had this style truck?
It will be 6 years.
6 years?
Yeah,
wow, congratulations.
6 years. Thank you, thank you. It's hard to believe.
Where can someone find the style truck? If they've never heard of you or seen you anywhere, where do you usually go?
I go all over Western Pennsylvania. I do home parties. So if you just want me to pull up in your driveway and have a few girls over, that works. I do craft and vendor shows. I do fundraisers. I team up with other local businesses or entrepreneurs or a lot of women owners like spas and things like that to do other private events and fashion shows. And if you want to find me or book a party, you can go to my website, mystyletruck.com, and I have a calendar of events and always looking for ideas too. So it's kind of like the crazier the better.
And people may have seen you because you were on TV. You were at Market Square in the holiday season.
Correct. I was on the Bethel Park TV with Kim, and then also KDK had a feature of some of the vendors.
Right.
So this was my 6th year doing the holiday market at Market Square. I don't have my truck. I'm in a little wooden hut, and that was the first thing I did before I got my truck, kind of like branding and planting the seed. While I had ordered the clothes, but I hadn't purchased the truck yet.
Right, because people don't realize that you have to order ahead of time.
Yes, I'm already done ordering spring right now.
Okay.
So in spring's, and it'll be starting. Hard to believe it with this weather we've been having, but my spring arrivals will be hitting shortly.
Well, we're all thinking spring, especially with this cold temperature.
I know.
What type of items do you carry in the style truck?
My demographic is woman on the go. So the woman who wants to have a little bit of fashion and fun, but yet convenience and really reliable and dependable clothes too that they can wear. It's like something you can go from day to night wearing something to work, but you have an evening occasion, so you add some jewelry or heels, and then it makes the outfit a little bit different. So I range. My first customer was an 80-year-old woman, and my second was a 12-year-old buying jewelry. So run the gamut.
You do have a big variety, beautiful clothes.
Thank you.
And they're unique.
They are.
Which is really nice. It's not like going to the mall and buying the same
Exactly.
outfits.
It's good quality. A lot of American-made or fair trade items, which I find the women really value, and people are willing to pay the price because it will last. It's good quality stuff, and it's just different. You don't see yourself coming or going.
Right. What's it like being a female entrepreneur? Was that scary at first? No, it was scary for me starting out on my own.
Yeah, I guess because you're always under usually someone's shadow or someone's wings, and you always have that to catch you if you fall. But it's exciting. It's good to be your own boss, and if you're going to work that many hours, you might as well work for yourself.
Right. Did you ever envision owning your own business?
No. Did you?
No.
No, I
still don't believe I do it.
No, that's what people come into my truck and you have these conversations, and it's really nice. It's nice. That's the best part of the job is meeting the people you do. But yeah, this was not my dream. It wasn't I never envisioned this. So I don't know.
Yeah, it is strange because people like my family and friends, they're not entrepreneurs. They go to work every day and they do the
Did they think
thing.
you were crazy?
Yes.
Do they still think you're crazy?
Yes, get a real job.
Mine
so
too.
it's nice meeting people that are female entrepreneurs and having the same ideas and the same struggles. What was your biggest challenge?
Besides driving the truck?
Driving a truck.
That probably was the biggest challenge.
Oh my gosh, yes. I can't imagine.
No, it's before I used to Google and my maps and have my track all planned out, and now I wing it a little more, but it's easier. But it's pretty scary driving, and it's kind of funny being out on the road. You get beeps and questions and asking for your card. It's kind of hard to go unnoticeable in a purple truck.
Yeah. Well, it is different. It is unique. And I love the colors, the purple.
Thank you.
If anyone's watching that wants to start their own business, what advice would you give them? Because you do have a business background. You did some marketing, you said. So what would you do?
I would say do your homework. I mean, that's kind of a given, I guess, ultimate. But do your research. Be yourself. Find something that you're passionate about and something that you're willing to, make sure you know how much time is involved. Make sure you're willing to do that much and have some money. That's the biggest challenge, I would think.
Being an entrepreneur is not a 40-hour week.
No, not at all. And make sure that you can work other jobs while you're getting ready to build this, because paychecks aren't going to come rolling right in.
Right.
So I think that's probably a challenge when you're used to working and having a reliable paycheck come in.
Getting that paycheck every 2 weeks, and then you go and you don't have a paycheck.
No, and vacation.
Pay time off.
Yeah, exactly. Sick
Now,
days.
what do you do in the wintertime? You're down at the market.
Yeah, I have enough events up until November, usually a lot of craft and vendor shows in the fall, and some home parties and corporate events, and then the holiday market begins at Light Up Night, and that runs until December 23rd. So January is kind of my downtime, inventory, gather, usually recuperate and sleep a lot.
Thaw out.
Exactly. This year was pretty mild, so I can't complain.
It wasn't too bad.
No, but and do things like this, or try to start planning the year.
Such an amazing story, Jackie.
Oh, thank you.
Because you saw it in a magazine and you thought, why can't Pittsburgh have that? And you start that. And I think that's the thing. People that may be watching, especially women, they may think, well, I don't have the experience to do this or that. And
right.
You didn't have any experience driving a truck.
Nope.
You just said, I'm going to do this, and you did it.
Even though right out of college I did work at Kaufman, so I had, and that really gave me, I would say, the skills as far as like HR and things like that,
Sure.
and projections of sales. But, like I didn't know vendors, I didn't know how to order things, I didn't know about cutoff dates and minimum orders and things like that. So you can learn, if it's something you're interested about and willing to give the time, you certainly can do, get out of your norm.
And do you use local vendors, or where?
Sometimes I have some local jewelry artists that I like to use, and down at the HUD I have a local designer, some hats and things like that. And but a lot of the vendors come here to Pittsburgh, or they visit people's stores. Typically, when you go to shop for items, the vendors come to your store. Well, I don't have a store to come to,
right.
So my vendors come to my front street. My neighbors and people are walking dogs, and I have rolling racks of clothes all set up. It's kind of funny, but that's how we do. I find some vendors, and a lot of online looking, but it's really nice to be able to see vendors and see the clothing in person, to make a decision.
And it is such unique items, which is really nice.
Thank you.
Things that you don't find, and it is great quality.
I hope so. It's funny though, because like I said, I've almost done ordering spring, and it'll show up at my house like 6 months later, and I don't have a recollection of ordering it.
It's like Christmas time.
Yeah, I'm all excited, and then there happens to be an extra one in my size. I'm like, oh, I must have liked this one. It is fun.
So you've had so much success. 6 years, you said, right?
6 years.
What's next?
Well, now, just after Abby, I feel like I'm blogging, definitely blogging, podcasts, things like this.
Right.
Just because I use my background in writing and communications and PR. But trying to get it with a couple of stores or boutiques, like salons, and set up a couple rolling racks in there.
Oh, that would be awesome.
So that during this downtime, I can actually have some stuff being sold and being seen. So that's on the horizon.
Oh, that's great, Jackie. Any final thoughts for the audience?
Just come find the Style Truck or host a party. Just you only need 4 or 5 girls to have the Style Truck come to your driveway. We pull up, can set up in your game room, can set up in your living room, can set up in your backyard, however you want to do it. Bring a bottle of wine, have the girls over. It's usually fun, and it's not a pressure sales. It's just you become friends with the girls that host the parties, and it's really nice to see the interaction and people having a good time. So hopefully that someone will host a party, or if you know of a fundraiser or something like that, and something different, looking outside of the box for some kind of fundraiser. Like I said, I do some fashion shows, and percentage of the sales could go to whatever charity that you're looking for.
And we should have mentioned, even though the items are unique and you get them from other vendors, they're not super expensive.
No, I think
they're very reasonably priced,
and it's high quality.
So I don't want people to think it's
Right, and
Yeah.
it's not high, high-end, high fashion,
Right.
that it's not going to be dated and that you can get a lot of use out of.
Right.
So it's worth it. I
Yes.
think.
Thank you so much for being on
Thank
here.
you. I'm so excited. Thanks so much.
Thank you for watching today's episode of Empowering Women. I hope you enjoyed this show. I'd like to thank my guest, Abby Lawson, Just a Girl on her blog, and also her YouTube channel, Abby Organizes. Check out her blog and her YouTube channel to get some great information on organizing your home. And my other guest, Jackie Ging, owner of the Style Truck. Jackie has an incredible story of how she started the first mobile boutique in the Pittsburgh area. Thank you for watching and see you next time.
I think film and television in general is a very discouraging industry. It takes a lot of years of pounding the pavement, calling people, finding your ends. You're gonna carry a lot of heavy cable, get dirty a lot, and find your way in. With the limited amount of resources out there and the limited amount of opportunities, there's a fantastic resource right here. And it's public access, it's free of charge. Anybody can come in and gain that experience. Dave absolutely loves to help people, never said no to us growing up. Anything we wanted to do, we were able to do here. The first year I was here, I would just sign on for different projects, like Stump the Students was a show that I worked on quite frequently. It was a game show. We would just come up with our own little ideas, mostly sketches, a lot of school projects, a lot of classes when we'd have to do a project on a story we read or something like that. I would always ask if we could do a video as our project instead, and we would typically do it through Dave. One of my favorite things we did was one of the simplest things we did. It was put together in an afternoon. It was something we wanted to do for fun. We were playing around learning Final Cut Pro, learning how to do linear editing, and we decided to do something in reverse. So we filmed me, actually, I think it was, running around the building out here, jumping off walls backwards, running around backwards, and played the whole thing in reverse. It was really simple. It was, corny. We just did it for fun, but for a couple weeks after that, people kept coming up to me at school like, well, how'd you do that? We were more exposed to our student body than we felt we were, not having an association with any extracurriculars of the school. It was fun to see how, even though we were doing it on our own, it was still making its reach to Bethel Park, and it was still something that we were getting feedback for, positive feedback from. And that was really nice. I would say that BPTV is one of the greatest creative resources this community has, and I would absolutely encourage anyone with any interest in production to come here and learn from Dave and take their ideas and turn them into something. If I hadn't been here at BPTV, I wouldn't have advanced at the rate I did in my industry. I wouldn't have had the passion for my industry nurtured the way it was here. I don't think that I would have pursued it because I don't think I would have had as clear a picture of what was available to me in this industry unless I had come here and gotten that first-hand experience prior to having to make the decisions that you have to make whenever you're graduating from high school. Opportunity really only comes to people who establish a lifestyle to seize it. And this is the kind of place where you can seize an opportunity and change what you want your future to be.
What do you do for the public access TV station, BPTV?
Well, whenever Dave needs a volunteer, I originally got onto this. I came down to ask Dave to put a sign for the Rotary Club Pancake Festival in, and so I needed some volunteers and said, hey, I got some time. And my wife, we travel, and in the summer times we're not around, but it's something to do, and it keeps me busy. And I've met a lot of interesting people, and I encourage anybody that has some time or looking for something to do to come down and volunteer. I mean, learn how to run a camera, help out in the studio, whatever Dave needs, and I find it enjoyable. And it isn't something that you're volunteering where they expect you to come every Thursday at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. This is one of those arrangements where anybody that has some time, Dave will send you an email showing what he's going to schedule the next week, and if you have some time, you call up and say, I'll be there. And it's worked for me, and it's been fun. I've enjoyed it. And once I retired, then I volunteered here and been helping out here ever since.